IDX and RETS. I'm sure you've heard the terms before, but do you really know what they mean? But more importantly, do you understand the difference between the two so you can use that to your advantage? Emmanuel here, and today we're talking about IDX and RETS, and we're essentially going to be comparing the two technologies to figure out what works best. If you're setting up a brand new real estate website or maybe a real estate application, then I'm sure you've probably encountered the acronyms IDX and RETS. The problem is, if you don't exactly know what they mean or what they do, then it's going to be harder for you to make your educated guess as to what application to use to reach your final goal. Now, if you're not exactly sure what IDX and RETS are, then I highly recommend you check out the videos we did on what is IDX and what is RETS. I'm going to link them in the description below. But today we're talking about what are the differences between the two so you can make a better decision in the future. But before I get into it, please make sure you click that like button. You know it helps out our channel. You know it helps get this video out to a larger audience. And thank you so much in advance. Now, when it comes to IDX and RETS, I want to break this comparison down into essentially 4 different categories. Those categories are speed, frequency of updates, ease of use, and price. All right, first let's talk speed. Now, if you remember from my original What is IDX video, I had mentioned that you're essentially installing a web application into your website in order to generate searches for the MLS. Now, the problem with that is that you're at the mercy of the IDX company in terms of speed. Let's say someone's searching for properties on your website and they're using IDX. The way that process works is they'll input a search query and then they'll have to send a request through the internet to your third-party IDX provider, look up their database, find the property, send it back to you, and then have it appear on your website. I guess the easy way to think about it is if you had a search field on your website and you typed in something simple to search, and then instead of it just actually doing a search, it would go to Google, do the search, Google would pull up all those search results and then show it to you or show it to that user on your website. As you can imagine, it does take slightly more time because there are more steps involved to get that search result. Now, when it comes to RETS, the process is far easier and quicker. Essentially, with a RETS data feed, what happens is you're taking all the properties on the MLS and then saving it to your database. So when someone does a search, all the system or the website is really doing is just taking that search query, looking inside of the database and spooling up the result. Thereby making it much faster and much quicker in terms of a performance to be able to find what you're looking for. So in the battle for IDX and RETS, you gotta chalk one up to RETS. Next, we're chatting about frequency of updates. With IDX, again, you are at the mercy of your IDX provider. That essentially means that when a property is loaded to the MLS, your IDX company controls the frequency at which their database is synchronized or updated with the MLS's latest content. That could be 6 hours, that could be 12 hours, that could be an hour. The point of it is you do not have control of when that frequency happens. Essentially meaning that if a property is loaded to the MLS, you don't know when that property will appear on your search results on your website. Now with the RETS, the story is completely different. Since you have direct access to the MLS, you actually can program out the frequency at which you want your website to synchronize with the MLS to get the latest information. Whether you want your website updated every hour, every 15 minutes, every 60 seconds, the choice is really up to you. And in this battle, chalk up another point to RETS. Now, when it comes to ease of use, IDX and RETS are completely different. Since IDX companies have already established themselves and their web application, typically their user interface is pretty easy to use and provides for the best user experience for its customers. All you would simply need to do is install that IDX feed into your website and you're good to go. Now, like I said with the RETS, the story is far different. With the RETS, you're essentially getting raw data. Imagine a CSV file with a whole bunch of properties on it. It's gonna require you far more time and money to build out a solid user experience for your visitors. You really don't get the bells and whistles of something already made because you essentially have to make it yourself. So in this battle, chalk one up to IDX. Lastly, let's talk price. The price for setting up an IDX is far more inexpensive than setting up a RETS feed. Typically for IDX, you're looking at about $100 setup and maybe plus and minus $50 a month in terms of a data subscription. Then from there, it's just a matter of installing IDX into your website and you're off and running. Now with RETS, it's completely different because you're getting raw data. And the big deal with the raw data is licensing that data. Depending on your MLS, the prices can range from up to $10,000 annually or even more. Also, did I forget to mention that you actually need to build out the application to use the data? So add the cost for hiring an expert web developer to be able to take that data and build out a web application from it. So in this case, chalk another one up to IDX. 2, wait a minute, a tie? Yes, that's right. The deciding factor and the tiebreaker is really up to you and your goals. As you can see, both platforms can be used to access MLS data, but they can be used in far different ways. The decision between choosing one or the other is really up to you and your expectations and what you need to get done. So what do you think? What are your thoughts? Drop a comment below and let me know what you prefer, IDX or RETS. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and click that bell icon so you get notifications whenever we're posting new videos. But aside from that, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next video.